You know what's wild? The 1980s gave us some of the most innovative products ever created. Big hair, backyard games, toys that sparked imagination. But hidden inside that neon decade were inventions so dangerous they had to be completely banned. Stick around, because number 4 could catch fire even when it was turned off. Number 1. Lawn darts. These weren't toys. They were metal javelins marketed as family fun. Throughout the 1980s, every suburban barbecue seemed to have a set. Hasbro sold them as jarts. The concept was simple. Toss weighted metal-tipped darts at plastic ring targets on the grass. It was Dad's favorite game after a few beers. Kids running everywhere, everyone having a great time. Here's where it gets horrifying. Those darts struck with an estimated 23,000 pounds of pressure per square inch, enough to puncture a skull. In April 1987, 7-year-old Michelle Snow was playing in her California front yard when a dart thrown in the backyard cleared the fence and struck her. She died 3 days later. Her father, David Snow, an aerospace engineer, launched a one-man crusade. He testified before Congress and made 7 trips to Washington. The CPSC had documented 6,100 emergency room visits in just 8 years, 81% of victims under 15. 3 children dead total. In December 1988, lawn darts were banned. One grieving father changed federal law. He'd made a promise to his daughter. Lawn darts remain completely illegal to sell in the United States and Canada to this day. Number 2. CFC aerosol sprays. Every time someone achieved perfect 80s hair, they were literally destroying the planet. The 1980s demanded big hair, and big hair demanded hairspray. The average American household had 30 to 40 aerosol cans. CFCs were the magic propellant inside: hairspray, deodorant, air fresheners. They seemed completely harmless. No smell, no immediate effects, just fine mist delivering perfect hold. Then, in 1985, British scientists discovered a hole in the ozone layer over Antarctica. CFCs were the culprit. When these chemicals reached the stratosphere and hit sunlight, they released chlorine radicals that ripped ozone molecules apart. A single CFC molecule destroys 100,000 ozone molecules. Without action, 2/3 of Earth's ozone layer would have collapsed by 2065. The world came together on this one. In September 1987, 43 nations signed the Montreal Protocol. It became the first treaty to achieve universal ratification. All 197 countries, 99% of ozone-depleting substances have been phased out. The protocol prevented an additional 2.5 degrees of global warming. Your grandmother's aqua net was punching holes in Earth's atmosphere. The 80s gave us big hair and nearly gave us a scorched planet. At least this one has a happy ending. Number 3. Mini hammocks. What looked like a relaxing childhood accessory became a silent killer in American backyards. These lightweight net hammocks were sold throughout the 1980s at sporting goods stores like Herman's World of Sports and discount chains like Big Lots. One popular brand was actually called Hang 10. Priced between $4 and $16, they seemed like the perfect gift, portable relaxation for kids. Here's the deadly design flaw. These hammocks were made without spreader bars, the rigid pieces that hold a normal hammock open. Without them, the netting hung like a thin rope when strung between trees or porch posts. Children climbing in or out would get tangled. The mesh twisted around their necks. Strangulation could happen in seconds. Between 1984 and 1995, CPSC documented 12 children who died this way. Victims ranged from 5 to 17 years old. One child survived but suffered permanent brain damage. In 1996, 10 manufacturers joined together in a massive recall. Over 3 million mini hammocks pulled from the market. A $4 hammock killed more children than most things on this list. And that brand name, Hang 10, aged about as badly as anything possibly could. Number 4. Power wheels. Every kid wanted one of these. Some of them literally burst into flames. These battery-powered ride-on vehicles launched in 1984 and quickly became the ultimate suburban childhood dream. Barbie Jeeps, Jeep Wranglers, Kawasaki Ninjas, kids could actually drive up to 5 miles per hour. Sold at toy stores nationwide for $70 to $300. Commercials promised pure freedom and total independence. Here's the terrifying part. The electrical components weren't designed to be robust enough. Wiring would overheat, short-circuit, and melt. These vehicles caught fire while being ridden, while charging, and while just sitting parked. One Pennsylvania mother stored her daughter's Suzuki car in a closet next to the 3-year-old's bedroom. It ignited while the child was napping. The CPSC received over 700 reports of overheating and 150 fires. 9 children suffered burns. 22 homes and garages sustained $300,000 in property damage. In October 1998, Fisher-Price recalled up to 10 million vehicles, the largest store-sold toy recall in history. Fisher-Price knew about 116 fires before telling anyone. The toy designed to give kids independence could burn your house down while parked in the garage. Number 5. Slap bracelets. The must-have 80s accessory that was literally drawing blood from children. Wisconsin teacher Stuart Anders invented them in 1983. The original slap wraps became a phenomenon by 1990. Flexible stainless steel covered in colorful fabric, slap against your wrist and they curl into a bracelet. The New York Times called them a Venetian blind with attitude. Here's where the blood started flowing. Cheap knockoffs flooded the market using thin, inferior quality steel. When the fabric covering wore through, exposed metal edges sliced children's skin like tiny blades. A 4-year-old named Nicole Tomaso in Connecticut cut her finger badly. Kids in New York schools showed up with lacerations. Some wounds required stitches to close. Schools banned them across the country, including New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and many more. The Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection recalled all knockoff versions. The CPSC issued warnings urging parents and teachers to inspect bracelets for frayed edges. The problem kept resurfacing. More recalls came in 2012 and again in 2018. That satisfying thwack against your wrist, the defining sound of 1990, turned into the sound of metal meeting tender flesh. Fashion trends shouldn't require a trip to the emergency room. Number 6. Creepy Crawler's Thingmaker. We gave children electric hot plates and toxic chemicals and called it a toy. Originally released in 1964, this thing came roaring back in the 1980s. Kids would pour liquid called plasti goop into die-cast metal molds, then heat them on an electric oven to create rubbery bugs, spiders, and monsters. Mattel even made molds featuring Batman and Ninja Turtles. It seemed like creative fun. The metal molds and heating element reached temperatures between 300 and 390 degrees Fahrenheit. Burns weren't just possible, they were practically guaranteed. Kids touched hot molds, peeked inside ovens, grabbed creations too early. First-degree burns became a childhood rite of passage. Worse, the plastic goop released potentially toxic fumes when heated. No adequate ventilation warnings existed. Children breathed chemical vapors in basements and kitchens nationwide. The original design was never formally banned, but was repeatedly discontinued and redesigned. Modern versions cannot be opened until completely cool. Parents demanded safer materials and automatic shutoffs. The Thingmaker became a textbook example in toy safety discussions of what not to do. We handed kids miniature ovens that scarred fingers and filled lungs with fumes. The 1980s defined fun very differently. There you have it. 6 inventions from the 1980s that seemed perfectly normal, even exciting at the time, but were actually dangerous enough to ban. Every one of these regulations exists because kids got hurt, families were destroyed, or our planet was being damaged. The 80s gave us incredible innovation, but also some spectacular failures in safety. If you survived that decade, congratulations. Subscribe for more and drop a comment telling me which one shocked you most.